So as you can see on my screen, and so we are the two founders, Vipin and Mukul, and we both are coming from investment banking, as part of our careers, majorly into banking, where we both were working at Barclays Capital, and from there we actually decided to get into service stack technologies, and starting it at present. It's been 5 years for us in the industry, and we have already achieved some of the really nice figures actually. If you talk about, as a company, we are one of the topmost development maturity partners of service nows in the entire globe as part of the partner ecosystem. That is what we are very proud of, and we've been consistently maintaining that top slot as part of the topmost development maturity partner. If we talk about the what is exactly Service Stack, we do a lot of consultancy on ServiceNow platform, enterprise service management majorly, and we cover almost every other module which is present on ServiceNow, starting with the ITSM till the platform level. We have lots of case studies in ServiceNow where we have helped a lot of our clients who are Fortune 100 and Forbes 2000 list, and we work with them with very much of dignity, I would say, and we are proud that we've been able to help them with their digital transformation a number of times, and also some of the case studies where I think they are pretty unique in ServiceNow's landscape as well. We'll keep that webinar separately, where we talk about in coming days where we'll be pushing out how to actually leverage the platform. So we'll definitely talk about those as well. As far as our presence goes, as part of Service Stack Technologies, in India, we're based out of Bangalore, Kochi, Mumbai, and Pune. And across global as well, we have presence in Amsterdam and Denmark as a company via our sister entity. A few of our scores, we are very proud of our CSAT scores. We have done some of the quickest ITSM go lives in the industry using our accelerators, you can say, or the tips and tricks of the trade, and we have done almost 60 plus implementation and a lot of consultancy as well. And if we talk about us as a partner, we are currently premier partners with ServiceNow, and also we have a lot of solutions on ServiceNow Store, which you can see on my screen. Some of them around Twitter, Yammer, asset management, and smart docs. We also have a lot of other solutions which are not there on our on the store, but you can definitely find those in our website as well on www.servicestack.io. As far as our partnership goes, we are sales, services, technology, and service provider as a partnership level with ServiceNow, and we are slowly moving towards being an elite partner as our goal, and eventually moving as a global elite as a partner for ServiceNow. And with that short and quick introduction about us as a company, I'll quickly get to the point of application portfolio management, and I want to make it a little quick as well, so that you can also enjoy the rest of the Friday and the long weekend in case you are getting into in different parts of India, right? So when we talk about application portfolio management, why do we actually need it, right? If we talk about why do we need it, and what exactly and how exactly I can get it into ServiceNow platform. So it is part of your ServiceNow ITBM suite, which is your IT business management. Why do we need it? It's very simple: to identify redundancies and decrease your budgetary cost. Because what happens in an organization is that, when we, if I'm a decent sized, large scale industry, which is operating in the, and I have a lot of different applications been bought by different business units, where, one business unit does not know that, what the other business units are doing. And sometimes it's a miss within the organization that they fail to, identify what different applications they're using. Maybe in a particular industry type, they may have overlapping products being used. Sometimes it's very difficult to understand also that what this product is capable of, and then why we can't use that product or a platform to build our applications. So with that thought process, that's where we start with, identifying the redundancies and the decreasing the budgetary cost, because then you can take certain actions based on certain data. And I'll cover that, how to actually do that. What it also helps you out in, consolidating your business application is by looking at alignment to the business, what business is going towards, what technologies you're consuming, and also what information that is being used. Because as the industries are growing bigger and bigger, there is a more sensitive issue which is coming up around in EU, for example, is GDPR. So you need to know that across your different applications, what kind of sensitive data you're actually storing in your business application, or what they are processing, or so that in case you get a security breach, you should actually know what kind of data has been compromised, right? So APM will actually help you in understanding that as well. That what data, and you can take necessary action, because as part of GDPR, you have to you have to tell the government that yes, a breach has happened and this was the data which is compromised in certain set of hours. If you don't do that, you're looking at penalties. So how you can actually use APM to identify what has been compromised and take necessary action and save yourself from heavy penalties. That is where you also fit this in. You will also get a lot of, once you get the data into the system, you'll get to see how you can modernize certain applications, or you want to upgrade based on their life cycle, and also in what applications you have to invest, sustain, or replace. There are a few interesting stats which I want to share here, which is about, does your organization have more apps than needed? To be honest, maximum times you will see the answer as yes in bigger organizations, because 30% of your IT budget is spent on new application purchases and their maintenance. The reason why is very simple, because no one has a track of what applications we are using. And if we talk about 24% of technology purchase decisions are made without IT involvement, adding to the technology debt, right? Simple reason, I have a separate business unit. I probably not go to IT or consult them. I'll just process my orders by buying different applications, which actually might not be needed. If IT has been involved, probably they can say that, hey, you know what? Why can't we do this on this technology platform, or probably this tool? We can actually do a custom app on it rather than buying a new one. So you actually end up spending a lot more when you do not have a consolidated picture. And that is what we're going to look today, and how ServiceNow's APM actually helps you out in understanding that, omitting that technology debt and taking smarter decisions. And if you see that often, IT is majorly reactive to new demands and struggles to deliver business outcome. Simple reason is that if you do not have any portfolio being consolidated, if you do not have any application stack that, yes, these are the various application stacks we look at, more than 3 months you will actually spend in order to do your entire application inventory. You will be doing a lot of manual app mapping to business priorities and capabilities, because if you are just purchasing applications, sometimes you miss out on that what actually those applications are serving as a business capability. And business capabilities are actually how I do my business and actually what I'm doing it as a business, right? So that part is it's completely missing. And also there is no central knowledge of app metrics to assess the cost, that if I'm taking a particular application, whether this application is usage is low or high, or how many incident or changes are running on it, what is the cost actually I'm spending in order to maintain it. If you do not track it properly with the proper metrics, you will actually not get to know how much money you actually spend in upkeep of those different applications. And if you have those, probably that's where you take smarter decisions in order to decommission, or probably take a strategy of cloud first, and moving away from your on-prem application. So that is where it actually also helps out. And majorly what we have seen, if you do not have an application portfolio done properly, you end up doing a lot of more spends, right? You will also do a lot of inaccurate planning for future investment, but you can plan better and retire 20% of written apps. How you do that? You perform an app inventory 95% faster than alternatives in ServiceNow. Dynamic mapping versus manual by using ServiceNow products like service mapping and discovery, which does your horizontal, horizontal discovery plus service mapping, building you nice top-down hierarchies so that you get better visibility into your business capabilities and applications till your infra level. So we're talking about from design till the infra level of things. You can also spot risks through business capabilities with consolidated metrics, and you can definitely plan for future investments by retiring old or underutilized apps, by removing app waste, right? So that is what we're talking about here. There are certain use cases which I just want to touch base before we actually get into seeing what actually APM is used for. So I want to set the context right first. I wanted to actually discuss use cases towards the end, but I thought that probably we take it a further ahead so that everyone understands that why we're talking about APM. We're talking about it because we want to drive IT transformation through app modernization or rationalizations, right? Everyone is talking about digital transformation right now. When you're doing this digital transformation, you want to actually also look at your past, what you're actually carrying with you. So the baggage which you're carrying with you need to analyze that first. I see that. I mean, at least that you understand what you have, and then you look at your digital transformation. And to be honest, for your digital transformation, if you look at what baggage you're carrying, it probably gives you a better answer into, towards that which platform to invest in, which one is heavily used, and which is probably costing me less, right? Considering that, you actually identify a lot of cost saving opportunities, which is like, if you want to identify that the applications which are costing me, high total cost of ownership, which is with the OPEX or CAPEX breakups. If you talk about applications with high support cost, you will get to know applications with high labor, external or internal. It can be labor cost or any other variable cost. You will also get to know about the applications which are probably in high investment pipeline, and where you can see that what are the incoming demands or in-flight projects which are going on, and also identify application consolidation or rationalization opportunities. That's where you can actually see what multiple applications I have within the similar business function or application categories. When you do a proper categorizations and mapping into the right business functions, you will see that what different applications are there. Different applications deployed across different business units for probably for similar business functions or application categories, right? Just another slide on on identifying application modernization or investment needs. You are talking about application on cloud versus on prem. So you will, once you do a proper application portfolio management, you'll be getting answers to all these questions, like how many applications are homegrown versus how many of them are commercially off the shelf, how many of applications are on non-standard tech stack or platform, and also what are aging applications, what applications are probably behind in their releases is also something which is we would like to understand. Applications with low customer satisfaction, with low functional or technical fit, with high support cost or needs, with high risk, what are nearing end of life, and application with expiring contracts or subscriptions, or even with high SLA breaches. So these are the various use cases which you try to address when you do an application portfolio. And once you do it, actually you get answers to majority of these different parts which your management might be asking you, and you take smarter decisions, because when you see the data in front of you with all that application information being gathered, you definitely get a lot of information into it. When we talk about a 360-degree view, how can I get it within the platform? In this case, we're talking about ServiceNow, right? If I want to get a complete 360-degree view, there are different components of ServiceNow which fits in together as a platform. If I talk about, starting with, let's say, project and portfolio management in this case, if I want to, have a proper roadmap and execution, I'll probably look at also, PPM on the ServiceNow platform chipping in, because I can manage my demands, I can manage my ideas there with my applications, which are tied to my application actually, and projects, any investment plans, right? If I talk about ITSM, ITSM may bring in my vendor management or contract management, or in fact, even data from incident, problem, or changes. Because if I'm running any application, then I can easily see that, how many incidents it is taking and how many problems it is taking or changes. Similarly for GRC, you can embed it, application portfolio management, it can also take information from GRC, audit, risk or compliances. You can leverage reporting for dashboards and reports. You can leverage ITOM, where you get discovery for your applications, what infra-level components are running on it, service mapping to give you a top-down information. And for platform, you can have service assessment and ITAM, where you get into technology portfolio management, actually, where you can see what hardware models I have, what software models I have, and what's the life cycle towards those, right? So it actually helps you out in understanding, and how you can leverage different components with APM in ServiceNow platform to give you a 360-degree view. This is what we are looking at here. Coming to this, a little bit of off topic from APM, but equally very, very important for application portfolio management is the CSTM model. I think some of you are aware, or maybe not aware, is that ServiceNow recently did CSDM 3.0 as a, which is Common Services Data Model, which is released with Paris release, right? The reason why we're talking about this, entire portfolio within the APM is basically CSDM introduces the application service entity, which is a key connection point between business applications and other entities. So what we're talking about here is the top part of it, which is design. And that is where application portfolio management actually focuses. It talks about your business capability, it talks about business applications, it talks about information objects, and then connecting to application services. So this is the major part which has been consumed within APM, and and why it is also important. So whenever when you adopt APM, make sure that you are also adopting CSDM model as well to get the major benefits, because ultimately you will be filling in data in these tables, and which is actually required for your application portfolio management. And CSDM will not only benefit APM, but in later run, your ITSM, GRC, or any other module which you're bringing in future, they all will be leveraging the same model. So CSDM has been the guiding framework for majority of the platform related different applications which ServiceNow has. So that was one. If I quickly talk about different roles and personas within APM, you talk about IT leadership, which is actually looking at technical debt and app rationalization, probably for what applications I want to invest in, or in fact, even for what applications I need to invest for supporting my mission critical capabilities. Application portfolio management admin is another role which is involved, and enterprise architects and application owners. So these are more on a high level. These are the various roles which are generally available when you talk about APM within the system, and all of them have their own tasks to be executed within application portfolio. So now we set the context about why we need application portfolio. Now the question arises that, how should we go forward and implement it, right? And how to actually go for, or where do I start? And that is what, what we are going to talk about. So if you're looking at gaining all those, different use cases to be addressed under APM, this is what your path looks like, where you start with level 1, getting into level 2 later on, and then level 3, and then level 4. Under level one, we talk about applications under management, where we talk about, okay, so now I'm pretty much focused that yes, I want to reduce or retire 20% of my applications, or at least save cost. So when I'm talking about saving cost, then I'll be starting at, okay, naturally what comes is I want to consolidate first. So I'll start with the application inventory, wherein what we do is we capture the data around in my entire organization, that what applications I'm running. So that will be my first step, right? And when I'm doing that, what I'll probably be looking at is more or less something like this, wherein the APM admin will, probably create a simple Excel sheet wherein he will list out certain, maybe attributes, which are like, name of the application we want to record. We want to record the description of that application, what it does, what is that application type, or what contract info we have. It can be the owner's information as well, like who's the IT owner, who's the business owner of it. So you capture a lot of these different attributes as part of your Excel sheet, right? And then you may look at compliances, which you need to handle, what business units are there, what platform it is using, and age of the application, user base of the application. So you get all that data, which is starting with the inventory. And that is what is the essential part, how to start with it. Who fills it in? APM admin drives it, managers fills it in. Once you fill it, you transform it into the system. So at least you get a base set of data within the system. So that's how we started. That is our first basic step, or what we call as the baby step. But actually, when you look at it, it's not a baby step. It's a huge step, because looking at your entire portfolio of applications, you have to go to different managers. Probably you don't even know who to reach out to. So it is an internal exercise where APM admins drive it, identifying that, okay, these are the various applications which have been procured. Maybe procurement department is involved, IT stakeholders will be involved, and lot many different people, right? And once you capture it, you go for application categorization, right? When I talk about application categorization, I'm actually clubbing different items into a bucket. If you're using an iPhone, you will understand this picture pretty clearly. What we're doing here is that you know we're clubbing different sort of applications into smaller buckets, so that we identify that under social, what application I'm using, productivity of finance, what I'm using, utilities, what I'm using. So this step is no different than when we look at our enterprise application. So I try to map it with our daily lives, what we generally see in our phones. So we club all these applications together because we need to know, and I can easily identify. Probably for music, you can see that I have Spotify, I have Prime Music, and maybe Amazon Music as well. So I'm using three different applications here, right? For same thing and same purpose, right? And when I relate it to an organization, I can easily say that, hey, you know what? Why do I have three application under entertainment which are more or less doing the same thing? So I can plan it, and I can probably get rid of those applications, and consolidate it, and at least be justifying that why we are even using it, right? And then we have data certification. Once we capture the data, we want to certify that why we have to, why we are actually using the data, whether it is the quality of the data is correct or not. So we generate a lot of data certification tasks within ServiceNow to, okay, now we got the data in the Excel sheet, we transformed it. Now let's see what data is actually holding true, and we can take certain actions, like correcting the data. It'll be a single time activity, but it can also be an annual activity as well, where you audit your application data, right? So you go for data certification, you go for application services. Once you do all these parts, application services is, of course, I mean, we talked about it in the CSTM model, but when you do all these parts as part of your step one, you get into the value of managing application. And I'll just quickly switch over to my live demonstration and showcasing you that when you do these four basic steps under APM, what you actually get to see. So when I go through my application portfolio screen, you can see that, I've enabled it on one of my instance, and this is what it looks like, application portfolio management. And under the application portfolio management, I can see I have application portfolio, its analysis, its ratings, capabilities, and information portfolio, and TPM, and rest of it is administration, right? And when I click on my home page, I actually get the screen here. And when I go and take a look at the landscape, which is actually now coming as part of my first exercise. So when I do that exercise, I get to see my data. I'm actually pretty confident of taking certain decisions by looking at this data. So once this screen loads up, I think I was logged out, so that's why it's taking time. But yeah, now we're back. So if you see here, you get to see a lot of data, which is making sense now. Under IT service management, you can see that, I have the largest user base. Under customer support, I have the second largest, user base, and similarly for marketing. So you see that different categorizations which you have done on your various applications, you can see that now that data is making sense. And you can also do it by family. You can do it, you can also stack it by different elements here. And then you can also see that how many applications are actually on-prem. And now when you look at the stats, you can actually make a decision towards the cloud transformation journey which your organization is taking. Then you can see that what applications are on-prem. Actually, we want to reduce it. So if I want to reduce it, what are these applications? I can easily see that. And now I want to increase this green bar so I can take my actions towards it, right? And then here you see category versus manufacturer, right? If you want to consolidate your vendors, if you have a lot of different vendors who are supplying your applications, or at least you can see that Oracle has been heavily used across different application categories, you can at least see that information here. You can also see the currency of the application. So it's basically whether it is current, or is it one or two versions behind, or is it one version behind. You can further plan it, and you can see that I have empty here. I don't know what version it is on. So I can see all these information. I can also further go and sort it out. So once I get the data in the system, at least I get to see that, this is what I'm doing. So this is at least for my management to take a look at, or at least the IT stakeholders to take a look at, that yes, we have all this information now. So now let's see what we can do with it, right? This is the very first part in the IT landscape. Once we are, once you get the data in, of course, that is the first part to it. The very next part, after getting this visualization and taking those smart decisions behind removing obsolete application or duplicate applications, or what you want to remove or realign under utilized application, you can take all those decision. And also if you want to decrease your budgetary cost with all this data, you can actually now take decisions. And that actually forces us into the next part of our level 2. Here, now you talk about the basic rationalization. When we talk about the basic rationalization, we talk about application indicators, business capabilities, demand, and its integration with ITSM. When we talk about application indicators, we talk about different parts actually here, which we use assessments and quantitative indicators to get actually more scoring profiles towards our business application which have been used. The journey towards this is, first you identify using your CMDB or discovery. So you get the inventory of your apps or its underlying technology platform by identifying it. Then you start measuring it, where you measure the cost, the quality, risk, user satisfaction, etc., by using indicators which are like CSATs. If I'm using PPM, then I can look at the quality part of it. If I'm using financial modeling, then I can also use the cost part of it. So I'll be measuring, a lot of data and around my applications. Then I'll be evaluating it, right? When I do the evaluating, I'm actually making decisions on actions to take for each app, because now I know my entire portfolio. Now I know the CSATs, or the cost I'm putting into my applications, then I can at least decide that I want to either replace those applications, consolidate those applications, upgrade or modernize. And once I decide, then I'm just taking actions. And that's where PPM fits into picture, where we talk about, creating projects or funding, and produce a roadmap by considering a demand and supply. So you can actually do a lot of things around in your basic rationalization. And just to show you how it works, you get actually scoring on your business application between 1 to 10. There are different assessment methods, be it using performance analytics. You can use assessments, what we all know as surveys, to capture the CSATs. We can use custom scripts to capture even the hardware cost, and we can also use query conditions to check the usage of it. Once we get all these different, what you see here on the right hand side, these are the different, indicators what we have defined in ServiceNow. You can also define more indicators as you see fit. And once you define those indicators on daily, quarterly, or monthly basis, you get certain stats, because some of them are automatically being captured. Some of them are actually driven by user responses. And once you get that, you get certain scores here, and you can define the weightage towards it. And what it does is, apologies, yeah, coming back to it. Yeah, so once you have the weightage and this normalized value from the, for example, TCO or process of people, what we do is we multiply it based on the weightage, and we get a total application score, which is actually required, for you to understand what is your actual application score. And I'll show you as well how it comes on, based on per fiscal period by analyzing different, different parameters. Right. So this is what it does. And you can see here is the example of assessment based on customer portal, wherein how widely is the application used within the assigned user base. So you can define all these parts to capture your understanding. And then you talk about business capabilities. We all know that business capabilities are defined in the organization, where you can relate the business applications, to the capabilities. And it is much more like there's an overall score that is used to evaluate business applications. How do I evaluate business capabilities is majorly based on either people, process, or technology. These are the three assessment types under business capabilities, and these all are by surveys or assessments we generate. There are a set of questionnaires under these three parts, under people, under process, and technology. Once you answer those questions, you actually get certain scores out of it. And you can see on the left-hand side that I'm talking about, what my organization does here is develop and manage product, service, and then, gathering new projects. So here I can see that, there are certain scores, and it also tells me about my overall capability summary here, right? So this talks about, what an organization does, and pretty much needed. Demand and demand action are basically, once you have these capabilities, then now you can create demands or demand actions, like, you want to invest or replace or retire. And quickly looking at, these various parts within the system, how it actually looks. So if I quickly go back here and look at my screen where I want to go for analyzing here, I can actually see the number of apps I have. I can see how many cloud, homegrown, apps with expiring contract, or apps with EOL. Right? If I just want to go and take a look at one of the application, let's say human capital management, where the number of apps are 26, I can actually further see, based on different scores which I actually had, now it is actually coming up here, which is, it is telling me that, okay, CSAT score for this application is 6, fit score is 6, number of incidents are 6.8, it's green. Workday, and it talks about temp tracker, and then you have basically 0 on attendance and payroll management. Now you can see that this is sustained. invest more in it, and replace any application. So you get to see your CSAT score versus functional fit score versus number of incidents. And you can also define more bubble charts as well. On the right hand side, you see the total scores and days to contract renewal or the application age, the based on data which you define for all those 26 applications under human capital management. You can see the data here. On the left hand side, you also get to see for your various fiscal years if you want to analyze the data. And here you can see what is greater than or what is less than and all that stuff. And you can further see all those indicators if you want to define those scores. You can further analyze your data, right? And how this data is coming, it's all coming in by defining my scores. So if I look at, let's say, application portfolio, and sorry, just give me a minute. Yeah, application ratings. So I can see here my indicator scores and my overall application scores. And when I talk about indicator scores, I can see that these are my indicator scores here, where I define the application rate, target maximum and target minimum and total rate towards it. And if I just look at, let's say, ServiceNow PPM as an application, I can see that the indicator score is 0.06. You can see that application here, what data is there, what is the user base, and what is actually having, and CI scores, what have been captured, CI scores for different fiscal periods, what ideas are there, related to that particular information, that particular application information objects, which we're going to cover, and GRC risk or engagements which are running or controlled. So that is where your every application, what you have, you can also have your GRCs being linked to that particular application to give you all the insights. And this is your overall scoring as well, which is coming in, right? And if I quickly talk about the home page, and which is the very next part when we talk about also the next part of my maturity, I'll be getting into level 3, which is TPM, information portfolio and cost model. I'll just quickly show you how it looks within the system itself, and this is where I get all this information. So I have now information portfolio. When I start doing TPM, I get into all these parts where I can see my information objects, I can see my business planning and hierarchy maps as well, and technology portfolio, which is like business software. So if I just quickly show you, conscious of the time as well, that technology portfolio management actually shows me various information around these applications. If I have defined those values here, I can quickly say show all risk, and then here you can see that different graphs coming in. So for example, here for software models for a particular application, I can see that that in Q2 2020, this is where I am, where this talks about the phase start cycle, and which is in the in the pretty much internal or the very first stage of, and then you can talk about the internal life cycle, which is at low risk and which is under general availability. And then you have an upgrade cycle, and then you have for that particular application as end of support, end of extended support, and end of life. So you can actually see for every software model or hardware model what you actually running your application on, when they're going to expire, and you can actually take decision based on do you need to procure more, or whether you're running on the hardware which is actually almost been end of life. So you can also plan better under your technology portfolio management. And this is this can be further you can also drill down here that there are also projects and demands which are running and when they are running. So this is what technology portfolio shows you, and you can also see it by software model. At present, hardware model is not present, but within the system, when you define all this data around your software models, that these are the different dates, and then you actually visualize it on your technology portfolio management. Once you define that, okay, for this application, these are my various software models which I'm consuming. and these are their stages. And it prints you a very nice map here. You can also see the legend, which is available, and you can also create a demand or a project from here itself if you want to take further action on it, right? So this is what happens in the technology portfolio management. And to quickly touch base on the other part, which is around the information objects, which is your PII data or PCI data. You can also see or relate it for your GDPR compliances or any other data protection, data protection regulations which you are abiding by, that these are the various data domains, these are different catalogs which have been attached to my application. This is for you to understand if there's a breach happening, then you know that what data is getting compromised and what capabilities are having actually. This brings you a lot more, visibility as part of this. Then you also have business portfolio where you can have business planning and also hierarchically map. And that is where you can see that 21 strategies have been aligned, 25 number of goals, 156 capabilities I have, and I can further go and look into those, and 14 business units are there. So you can see a lot of this information here and map. So you can quickly click on view. You can see all this information in one place itself. Click on map, it'll take you to another capability planning map, which we talked about, where you can see all these applications and you can see the risk towards those applications by technology risk. If I've defined technology risk against these different capabilities, then it will also further show me that what all are the higher risk, capabilities which I have, and then I can further drill down into it. That okay, develop ID services and solution services. So more or less, this is what it talks about, and I'll more or less have covered this part, and I'll just quickly wind it up now. So you can see that we talked about the software models and hardware models, and of course how service mapping or SAM can help you out, how GRC can be used, and what information portfolio you have to use in order to get the right information done. This is the application cost modeling. I could not cover it because I have not yet enabled. But what this talks about is that you can define your data definitions, then you can define the buckets around facilities, hardware, how much money is going where, and then also the distribution of your, money. So here, the cost model talks about the IT shared services, which is connected to your business applications and which is further, distributed amongst your business units. So it also handles, but for this, you need a separate subscription from ServiceNow. And the value of advanced rationalization, we did look into it, where you can see the entire technology portfolio management and can cut risk. The last part is the application roadmap, where you can see one consolidated screen, what is like, what you need to remove from your applications, what you need to modernize and upgrade or retire. So once you do all this stuff, you actually get into, these various parts which we actually look at as a key takeaways. If you want to do application portfolio management, these are the various key takeaways which I would like to highlight. You need to use your CMDB and CSTM must have. Align your CSTM. If you're not driving the CSTM, then you better use that. And you have to capture attributes and certify the data on business applications, build relationships properly, use discovery for getting insights on inventory and service mapping or top-down impact analysis, and decide cost modeling and per application, right? So this is what I wanted to cover here, and I hope it made sense and you got to know about what application portfolio management does and how you can actually use it to retire application and decrease your budgetary cost, and how you can also take further steps in consolidating your applications by manufacturers, where you can do a better deal negotiations because of the volume of applications which you're using with them. In our case, it can be Oracle, right? So more or less, this was it. And I'll be more than happy to take any questions if there are. And I'll try my level best to answer those. over to you, Subha.
Yeah, hi, Mukul, thank you so much. We do have a couple of questions to start out with. I think one you've kind of just answered. However, I'll just put it across. It says, can we implement APM without having a discovery or service mapping license?
Yes, you can definitely implement without discovery and software mapping. In fact, you can also implement even without the SAM Pro, which is in the technology portfolio management. But ideally, we suggest that you use discovery and service mapping in order to have a logical, representation of the top-down hierarchy as well. But yes, you can definitely go for APM even if you do not have a proper, discovery or service mapping being aligned, because it more or less talks about the design layer rather than the bottom layer. But yes, having discovery and service mapping definitely brings in a lot of advantages in application portfolio management.
Right, Mukul, we have a few more. I'll bring up another one. Perhaps we can answer the rest via email if that's possible.
Yeah.
It just says this if there's any kind of a prerequisite before we implement APM.
Well, the prerequisite, I would suggest that definitely look at CSDM as a model and try to structure your conversations with CSDM modeling, because that is more or less becoming the backbone for the entire APM, or in fact, not only APM, but for any other module which you're going for in future, let's say GRC. That is the essential part of it. And if you do not understand CSTM and try to do it differently, then probably you will miss out on definitely certain things which actually ServiceNow is going to provide you out of the box as capability. So I suggest aligning to CSDM is one of the very essential steps. Understand that model. We also do a lot of consulting on CSDM for various clients. We have done CSDM implementation for some of our clients, and we are currently also helping them. And one of the use case is definitely there, where one of our client is looking for APM as an implementation, and they just started with the CSDM adoption, and which is ultimately going to help them in APM ultimately. Yeah.
Right, Mukul, we have another one. I'm just going to read this out. It says that in an enterprise landscape, we may need an automated way to classify. To give an example tool, let's say suggest that, let's say Power BI or Salesforce or some kind of an app. So I don't know if this is a complete question, but it just says that in an enterprise landscape, we might need an automated way to classify. Is that something related to?
Yeah. So can I have this question again? Apologies.
Yeah, so actually it just says that in an enterprise landscape, we might need an automated way to classify.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you talk about classifying the application, are we talking about the categorization there, like what falls in under which category, or uh, like different applications like Salesforce if we're using,
Right.
then what category it falls in? See, at present, I have not seen any automated way towards automatic consolidation of different applications into certain buckets of categories or application families. But definitely a logic can be built on top. If you already know that these are the various applications which falls into different buckets, then that logic can be definitely been clubbed, and automatic classification can also be done based on a certain application. But at present, APM, I don't see there's an automated classification engine which is at least available with ServiceNow at present.
Right. Mukul, I think we have time to just take maybe one more question.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says that what systems can we integrate with the ServiceNow APM?
What systems can we integrate? I mean, I need probably a bit more, insight into what systems you want to integrate as part of what is the use case there. But as
Right.
part of the integration, I mean, within ServiceNow, we did cover one of the slide where we talked about, PPM, GRC, or ITSM getting integrated into APM. As far as the integration goes, discovery and service mapping are the two which actually fits in. If you want to integrate any external system, what would be the case? I mean, because one of our customers are actually looking at maintaining the application in a different tool, but it totally depends on the different use cases. You can definitely keep a separate tool for maintaining the capabilities or even the business applications, which are continuously synchronized with ServiceNow. So they had a different thought process towards it. So that's how they are looking at. But I need a bit more of an insight into this question. You can definitely write to us, or we can also connect with you to answer this question more. But probably needs a bit more insights into it.
Right. Mukul, we also have one more question, but I think we don't have the time. It's from Pavan, and we will definitely write back to him
Yeah.
in detail. And um, I think that's about it. We have a few more that we can probably answer back via
Yeah.
email.
Yeah. Sure. Definitely.
Sure. So I think thanks a lot, Mukul. Thank you so much for all the time. And also, I would like to thank all the attendees for taking out this time and attending our webinar and being a part of this. Before you all leave the session, we would just request you to quickly fill up a survey. It's a 3-question short survey before you all log out. And once again, thank you so much for attending and have a good day all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.